You are now tuned in to the Hood Shrink Podcast, the podcast dedicated to healing the world through peace, love, and light. Today, we address another taboo issue in the minority community and take one step closer to overcoming the traumas that impact us the deepest. Let's begin healing together today. Without further ado, let's get into the show with the one and only.
What's the word? Butterflies, you know the vibes, you know the voice. It's your girl, Brick the Hood Shrinks, and you're tuned into the Hood Shrink Podcast. I don't know what was going on with my mouth right there. But this is episode 14, titled America is Ghetto, as we know. And I just wanted to take the time out to record this episode to actually discuss what's going on currently with the women's rights regarding our bodies, or shit, I guess they belong to... excuse me. I guess they belong to the U.S. Constitution now. They don't belong to us. So, I wanted to take the time out to discuss that because a lot of people I've been talking to, specifically in our culture, they have no idea what Roe versus Wade is, where it stems from, why we should care, how it's important to us, and what we need to do next. And I just wanted to jump on here really quick. So this probably won't be that long of an episode. I just want to kind of get like a little bit of details. I took some notes because, listen, child, I have 75 things going on in my head that I just cannot remember everything word for word like how I need to. I don't know what's going on with me. It's like I need a different type of suit of vitamins or something. I don't know. But the brain is not braining ever since COVID, and I'm trying to get it back together. But anyway, moving on from that. So before we start this, I kind of want to give like a little background about what this whole Roe versus Wade was or is. And I'm saying is because even though it was overturned, my hopes and prayer is that eventually it is overturned again in our favor. So that's why I'm speaking in present tense as opposed to past tense. So prior to this whole Roe versus Wade, right? This was Roe versus Wade act was overturned, or they won that legal battle in 1973. So prior to that, there were only about 4 states that were fully legal when it comes to abortion. And then there were 16 other states that had like limited circumstances. In those limited circumstances, one of those states was the state of Texas. The state of Texas is where Norma McCarvey had resided in. Now, Norma is the woman who spearheaded this Roe versus Wade lawsuit against their district attorney at the time. Now, a little background about who Norma is. Norma was a woman who was 22 years old. She was unmarried. She was unwed. She was unemployed. She didn't work. She didn't have anything. She had 2 other children prior to being pregnant with the baby she was pregnant with at the current time then. And she had it in her mind that she wanted to get an abortion. She did not want to bring that child here because she could not support that child. So she went to try and have an illegal abortion done because in the state of Texas during that time, the circumstance was that you can only have an abortion if it was life-threatening. And of course, her abortion was not life-threatening. It was a choice that she was choosing to make because it was her body. And she has every right in the world to do whatever she want to do with her body. It's hers. God gave it to her for her birthday. So if that's what she wanted to do, child, that's what she wanted to do. However, the state of Texas said, not in this state. You want to do that, you need to carry your ass on to somewhere else because you want to do it in Texas. You're not doing it. So Norma said, y'all got me messed up. You're not going to tell me. You're not going to dictate what to do with my body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to these 2 women attorney. I had these ladies' name, and I don't remember the attorney's name. Oh, yes, I do. Linda Coffey and Sarah Weddington. She reached out to these 2 women who were already in the fight for women's right at the time. And also, sidebar, let me say this. When I'm speaking on women at the time, Black Americans was dealing with Jim Crow laws. We, unfortunately, Black women during this period, we did this thing called backdoor or back alley abortions. And I know a lot of us already know that term and we're familiar with that term. So this fight was really a white woman's fight. They didn't even look at us as human at the time. So, and I'm gonna get into that later of why I came up with that thought. It's not an opinion. It's a fact, and I'm gonna give you guys a book and everything that you can read, and you can read it for yourself for your own interpretation, so that you can see that this ain't some shit I'm just making up or pulling on my ass. So anyway, back to Norma. Norma used the name Jane Roe as opposed to using her name as a pseudonym. So that's where the last name Roe comes from in this case. And then look at this, my earring just falling out. Sidebar. I know I got a lot of sideboards. Hella sideboards. I got this shit on because I'm going swimming, child. Okay, I'm going to the pool. This is a swimsuit, and this is the cover up. And my earrings, they was just really cute, and I just felt like they really went with my outfit. Okay, I know I'm getting distracted. Okay. Let me wheel me back in. Y'all, don't let me just derail. Wheel me back in. Okay? So anyway, this lady Norma, she reached out to these two attorneys. They was like, bet, we're going to fight for you. We're going to take this to the Supreme Court. They filed a lawsuit against the district attorney. His name was Henry Wade, and that's where the Wade comes from. Roe versus Wade. That's where it comes from. So they took it to trial. Take that shit to trial, bitch. They did miss the big time. They took it to trial, and the judges that were on the panel decided, you know what? The attorneys, this Miss Coffey and Miss Weddington, they had a good case. They proved that the state of Texas was violating Norma's 14th Amendment right of privacy due to medical reasons. And they proved that, and the judges said, you know what? They're right. We can't tell these women what to do with their bodies. How are we going to tell them what to do with it? We don't even have a uterus or a vagina. How are we going to dictate what's going on with them? See, they had some sense. Them judges had some sense. Or they probably ain't want they sneaky links getting, they probably ain't want they sneaky links being stuck with no babies, and they having all these illegitimate children everywhere. So they probably had more on that end of sense and then really caring about women and what's going on with their bodies. But, so anyway, those judges, she won the case. It flipped in her favor, and that's how women have been able to have abortions in the state of Texas. Boom. It's spearheaded from the state of Texas to states all across the United States. Okay. It went to Missouri, all those damn red states where all them white folks that think they run shit. Well, I guess they really do run shit, but in their mind, they think that they're superior. So, excuse me, all of those states, they started to implement all of these laws and different rules and things of that nature when it comes to women and being able to have the procedure of having an abortion. So this took 3 years. 4 years. She started this case in 1969. It didn't get overturned until 1973. She had her child during that time, and she actually put that child up for adoption. So she has 3 children that she put up for adoption once she was pregnant, after she gave birth to those children. So that's how this whole Roe versus Wade situation happened. That is why we even have abortion laws, was because it was declared that it violated her 14th Amendment right. Her 14th Amendment rights. Like I told y'all, I don't know what's going on with me. It's just not giving. This is very much chlorophyll water, y'all. I don't want y'all to think I'm drinking weird stuff. But yeah, so that's what happened with that. Okay. So fast forward to now, on June 24th, 2022, I believe is the correct date. They overturned Roe versus Wade, and they're saying that it was erroneously declared in the beginning. So this guy, his name was Alito. I don't know why. Y'all see that? I don't know what's going on with me, but I promised that I would get this pod out regardless of what's going on with my brain today. I said I'm gonna do it anyway. But anyway, that guy, he went back to the court like, hey, they should not be able to have abortions. I don't care if it's incest. I don't care if it's rape. I don't care if it's due to a disability. If you get pregnant, you have your baby. Period. That's what it is. Despite that we are in a food shortage. Despite that we are in a water shortage, despite that we are in a recession, because that's what we are. They just haven't announced it yet. We are in a recession. Despite all of these things that we have, despite the fact that Germany, goddamn me, has a video stating how they need to feed the hungry and the kids in the United States. Like the videos we used to see when we was younger, of they would show us different children in different African countries and tell us how starving they are over their whole time. We ain't know, because in the 90s we didn't know no better. We never been to Africa. Whole time Africa thriving. That's where they've been stealing all the damn resources from. They're doing the same thing to America over in Germany. And quiet as kept, I read a little article that stated that was part of the United States little scheme thing that they got going on, and that they're the ones who, started that commercial to be, spread out through Germany. But anyway, so back to why it was overturned. So that was the reason why they're claiming that it was overturned, is that they're saying that it's because the baby has a life, and that we shouldn't be killing, abortion is murder, this, and this. And they done got all these other folks all riled up to think that this is the real reason why they are not for abortions. When the truth is, just like that lady got on TV and said with Trump, they are trying to preserve white lives. That is what this is all about. This has nothing to do with anything else. They try to loop it in with religion and law, which shouldn't even be. You shouldn't even be looping religion and law together. Because everyone in the United States subscribes to a different religious belief. So whatever your religious belief is, you need to keep that to yourself and your heart, and then get down to the business of what the laws are. They shouldn't intermingle. However, that's what they're doing. And I read a book called The Birth of Dearth book. It was by a man named, I'm about to lie about his name. I want to say his name was Matt Pennington. That ain't it. But I'm gonna show a picture of it on the YouTube screen. Y'all that's watching, I will have it linked. And y'all that's gonna be listening when I drop this audio, I will have the book linked in the description box with the author's name. But anyway, let's get back into this book. So in this book, this man described I don't know what's it called. He did like a poll, right, at a college of white kids. He specified this. This is not me saying this. He stated he went to a college in East Detroit. It was predominantly white. It was all white. It was a white school, because this was during a time of segregation, so blacks and whites didn't even go to school then. And he asked an auditorium of high schoolers who were seniors at the time if they planned on having children. Now, this man was like, he worked close with President Theodore back in the day. He was like his little liaison. He would give him information about statistics and rates of what's going on within America. Okay. And he started to see a decline in white births. Now, back in the 60s and back in the 70s, white women and men thought that the average family should have at least 4 kids. That was it. That was the number. But in 1987, when he did this book, those white kids now who are now adults, from their parents who wanted 4 kids, the children of those parents are now saying, like, we don't want 4 kids. Child, we don't want 3 kids. Honey, 2 is enough. So most of the people who was a part of this poll, of this experiment that he was doing, stated that 2 kids was enough kids. They didn't need to have no more than 2. And because they have been doing it, because now white women, they started the whole feminist movement of them wanting to have say-so over their lives and their bodies, as they should. I'm not disagreeing with that. But white women have also stepped up and said, I'm not having all them goddamn kids. Okay, you want all them kids? I don't know what to tell you. So their birth rate has been declining. And it has been, and this is just a guesstimate. They don't really know. None of us will be here in 300 years. But but they're saying that in 300 years that the white race will be extinct. And that, my people, is why we are now going through this whole Roe versus Wade, the no abortion ban thing. It is because they want to preserve their race. It has nothing to do with anything else. And in this book, it specifies that he goes so in depth about how the white race is the superior race, and if they don't get it together, then the Soviet Union will outbirth them, and the United States won't be the top country. It got deep. Y'all should really read this book. It's only 200. It was like 210 pages, I think, something like that. Like I said, I'm gonna link it and I'm gonna show a picture of the title of the book, so that you can read it. I read it for free at a website called THEHOODSHRINKSHOWPODCAST. I will also link that in my description box. You can read any book, y'all. Hold on. I know I be talking fast because I be trying to get all my thoughts out, baby. I'm an Aquarius, so if y'all know about us, it's whirly in there. Okay, but anyway, about this website, y'all. This website, you can read any book you want for free. Like, for real, any book you could think of, you can read for free. And I am an avid reader, right? I read all the time. When I got this link, listen, I ain't know how to act. Now, I still purchase books, don't get me wrong. But when I want to read something like for this pod, I wanted to research and read something really quick. It was beneficial for me. It was easily accessible. All you had to do was search the title of the book you was looking for and press download. Boom, it was on your phone. That simple. But I'm going to link the web address at the bottom of the page, so then if y'all want to ever use that, not just for this book but for any book, you have it. And it's a good tool, I feel like, if you have children and it's the summertime. It's time for kids to learn, because Black people, we are behind. We've been behind, and it's time for us to get on our shit. We really need to get focused. We really need to come together. And the best way to do that is through knowledge. We need the knowledge, and then we can move and juggle how we need to. But yeah, y'all really get into that book and get into that book. Now, that's all I'm going to tell you. Like, get into it. So, moving on from why the white folks want, not all white folks either. When I'm saying white folks, I'm talking about these racist ass motherfuckers that is just causing and wreaking havoc all over the fucking country, and them the ones I'm talking about. So I wanted to move on though to how this affects and how it impacts us as Black women. Okay, so we all know that the maternal mortality rate for Black women is higher than white women. And when I mean higher, like, I'm gonna give you this statistic, right? Because I'm gonna give you this. Okay, so before I give you the statistic, it is estimated that 33% of Black women will die during childbirth now because of this whole overturn of this Roe versus Wade. That's the estimate. 33% more than what's already happening, right? And just alone for 2020, the mortality rate was 55.3 deaths per 100,000 live births compared to white women and Hispanics. 55.3 deaths. Theirs was like 17.2 or 17.9 or something like that. Like, that is a huge difference. And it's just so sad. I'm sorry, I just like pause just to think about all these Black women who lost their lives trying to, bring life into this world. And it's just really sad how we are just disregarded and they don't listen when you go to the doctor. Even when we're not going to the doctor for childbirth, just regular things, they just don't listen. They don't take us serious. In their mind, they feel like the darker your skin, the higher your pain tolerance. Like, it's literally books about this shit that they really do think like that. And it's sickening. And about like these statistics that I got, you can read them. They're on the CDC.gov website. That's where I pulled them from. So it's not something that's made up. This is true. And because we don't speak about it enough, I guess that's why we don't know about it. But yeah, it's just really saddening, and it's really sickening. So just to think that, you can't even get an abortion if there's a medical reason why you need one. Like, they legit don't care. They don't care why you need to get an abortion. This is only in certain states. So let me say that. I did see that Louisiana and Utah, they stopped the triggering of the ban. They're not with it, which I was really, really shocked, because in Utah it's a big polygamous compounds and all these things with the Mormon folks. And then Louisiana, it's racist as hell. So I was just really shocked that they did it, but I was really happy that they did it. I live in the state of Arizona, as you all know. I'm not originally from here, but my original state that I come from also has this ban, and that ban, they had been in effect, I don't know, for years prior to this even happening. I believe it first started in 2003. But yeah, like if you need to have any type of medical abortion or an abortion because you want to, you have to literally drive to a different state. So us here in Arizona, the closest state would be California or anywhere on that west coast. That whole western coast that, you know, is very liberal. They not with the shits. They don't care. They like, y'all gonna do what y'all do with y'all body. God gave it to you for your birthday, like I said. But for my people in the South and the Midwest, it's not a lot of states. In the Midwest, the only state that was at the time of me recording this, let's be mindful of that because it may change by the time I release this. Illinois was the only state that you could go to have an elective abortion. And just think of all those women who don't have the resources to go and to travel to have this services done. And I know I'm gonna have a lot of people on here that's listening to me like, well, then they should close their legs. They shouldn't be having sex. And I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly. You can definitely have sex without getting pregnant. I've done it. I'm 35 years old. I've never been pregnant. However, with that being said, since I've never been pregnant, I cannot tell another woman what to do with her body when it comes to having an abortion or not having one because I've never had to walk those shoes. I don't know what it's like. And I pray to God to never have to know what that's like. I pray that I am as responsible as I have been, that I continue to be that way until I decide that I want to bring a child into this world, which is probably very unlikely. But with that being said, you know, it's nobody, we can't judge one another. It's not our place to judge folks on the decisions that they make in life. Hey, big dog gonna do that when we transition anyway. We don't need to judge one another. We ain't here for that. And who are we? We all make mistakes. Just because you might disagree with abortion, you might be fucking somebody's husband, you might be having sex with somebody's wife. Who knows? We all do different things. Folks doing drugs, all kind of shit going on. But for whatever reason, we hone in on the things that we think is just so bad, and then we use that against each other, and we have to stop doing that. We cannot dictate what other people do with their bodies if it's not harming anybody else. And I know people are gonna say, well, it's harming the unborn child. And that person that's getting that abortion gotta deal with it. It's not our business. It's not our business. And we really need to not be minding other folks' business. It don't pay us. So I don't know. So I also heard, you know, listening to these crazy ass folks on the TV, they were saying how now that they're going to try and overturn same-sex marriages, interracial marriages, which I think is hilarious. You niggas know damn well. Not them white men on there. They may fight for that. No interracial marriages because they, for whatever reason in their mind, they don't understand how science and DNA work. They think that when white people have children by black people, it water down their race. When actually it's the opposite. Y'all are contaminating and watering down our race. I don't know. But for whatever reason, they think that. But the black men, y'all better get y'all ass out and vote. We know y'all love y'all white goddess and y'all white women, y'all white queens. Y'all better get out there and vote. Y'all better vote them fucking people out of your state and local offices, because if you don't, you're going to have to sneak with your white woman. We don't want that. I don't want that for you. I want you to be able to love whoever you want to love out loud, black man. Love your white queens out loud. Y'all better get y'all ass out there and vote, because if they flip this, y'all gonna be real upset. Y'all gonna be more upset than anybody else that's in an interracial relationship. So I know they want to end same-sex marriages, interracial relationships. Yeah, fuck the relationships in the same-sex marriages, okay? Because you can be with whoever you want to be with. Can't nobody stop that. But these fools is really talking about taking the Board of Education versus Brown to court. Now, for my folks, that I have a lot of international listeners, so I if I'm dumbing this down, or a lot of y'all like, why she's making it seem like I don't know what she's talking about, that's why. A lot of my listeners are across the pond, and I appreciate y'all, baby, because I don't even know how y'all found me, but I'm appreciative of y'all tuning in to me all the time. But anyway, so over here in the United States, during a segregation, we had the Board of Education of Topeka filed a lawsuit Brown found a lawsuit against the Board of Education of Topeka, right? And it was a landmark decision of the U.S. Supreme Court in which the court ruled that the U.S. state laws establishing racial segregation in public schools was unconstitutional. And even if the segregated schools are otherwise compared to as equal, it still was unconstitutional. So basically what that means is that back during segregation, white children and black children were not able to coexist in the same classrooms. They could not learn in the same buildings. If you were black, you went to a black school. If you were white, you went to a white school. Similar, same thing as if the restaurants, the restrooms, the water fountains, the swimming pools, all of that. It was all the same thing. So they took it to court and said, you're not going to separate our children from white children when it comes to them receiving their education. And they won. So now that's why you see black kids and white kids can coexist in the same school system. And that's a whole nother podcast episode that I don't want to spend hours on talking about, because it's just really, really sad and really disheartening the way that they treated black people during that time frame of them trying to throwing things at them, spitting at them, sicking dogs on them. It was just a very terrible time, and it was not that long ago. My grandmother is still living today, and she went through segregation. So I know a lot of white folks be like, that was so long ago, why don't you guys get over it? It wasn't that long ago, okay? But like I said, that would be a whole nother podcast, and we spent hours discussing that. But they are now gearing up to try to overturn that. Now, my issue with that is, everybody who know me, if you follow me, you already know I was never a big fan of integration in the first place. Blacks we really did well on our own. That's why we had all these we had East St. Louis, cities in New York, we had Tulsa, we had cities in Florida that were thriving fully black communities, own schools, hospitals, grocery stores, and just everything. We had fully functioning communities, right? And white folks came and burned them and bombed them and just destroyed what we built or what our ancestors built at that time. And my issue with, if it gets to a point to where they overturn the Board of Education versus Topeka, and it gets to on a federal level, because let me explain, federal and state are two opposite things. Judges can file federal laws and say that this is a law. However, your state representatives have the choice to either abide by that law or say, you know what, we're not doing it. That's crazy. Okay. So, depending on the state. So for those red states though, who are actively seeking to want to, overturn all these laws that we have in place now, my heart goes out to those parents if that is something that it was to happen. Because as you know, these crazy white folks, that the racists of the whites, they target black communities. We just seen it with the grocery store in Buffalo. We seen it with the Dylan boy. What's his name? I forgot his last name. But Dylan with the church shooting. We see it all the time. All these school shootings and just. And I just couldn't take another one. So I can only imagine what would happen if we had specifically only black schools. I'm not saying that we don't have that now, because we definitely do have inner city schools that are predominantly all black. But I don't even want to think that would be something that they would do. But because I'm not naive, I do believe it is something that could happen if they were to overturn that decision of having segregated schools. I also read or saw, I think I actually saw this on the news, that they wanted to overturn the Plessy versus Ferguson law. And that one was also due for racial segregation laws that did not violate the U.S. Constitution, as long as the facilities for each race were equal in an opportunity. So I remember back when I was telling y'all that blacks and whites couldn't share certain facilities like bathrooms, restaurants, things of that nature. They want to overturn that. So basically what they doing is they want us to go back 50 years, 55 years. They want us to go back and want us to live in a segregated life. They don't want other races mixing with their race. That's really what all this is about. all of this abortion thing is all of this that they're stemming through. They don't want the same sex marriages because they're claiming, well, okay, biologically same sex people cannot birth a child together, but they can still become parents, as you see. We've seen it for years. But they don't want the same sex marriages because they're trying to preserve they're trying to preserve their race. They don't want interracial marriages because they're trying to preserve their race. They don't want us integrated with them because they're trying to preserve the white race. This is all about some weird scheme of white power and superiority complex. That is what this is about. That's it. And unfortunately, because just like in the book, it states, they can't just go out and say, okay, white women, we only talking to you. Y'all can't get no abortions. The rest of y'all won't give a shit what y'all do. Y'all get them. That's why we had Margaret Sanger set up Planned Parenthood, because we didn't want y'all having kids no way. We wanted the black woman and the brown woman to be sterile so that you all could quit procreating. Y'all was procreating too fast at a faster rate than white women, and they never anticipated that. And because they never looked at black people as people back then during Jim Crow and slavery, because abortions have been happening way past even during slavery time. When they wasn't looking at black people, they didn't count them as people. They never anticipated that for black people to be free. They never thought that. They always thought that black people was going to work for them and we was going to be slaves. That was the thought. So they're really trying to get back to how it was 50 years ago, however long it was. It was over 50 years ago. But they're trying to get back to that, and it's sad. It's sad that you want to move backwards because you're grasping at straws and you're afraid of not being the top dog, because that's really what it is. When quiet as it kept, I don't care how much shit y'all own and how much drama and toxicity y'all spread throughout the United States. Y'all not the top dog when it comes to biology and DNA, and we all know that. We all know that. And really, the bottom line is that none of us are better than the other. This is what it boiled down to. We all bleed the same way. We all bleed the same color. So what I want y'all to do, you all need to be researching your state and local candidates. They have already started. I know I received like a little booklet about the town that I live in. They have already started sending out the booklets. I've been seeing the little here I go forgetting what I'm trying to say. I've seen people with the little stands in their yard promoting who it is that they're gonna choose, the different running mates. I've started to see posters all over the place that, so y'all know election is coming up in November. We need to be ready. You need to research who the hell you have in office in your state, and if they are with this whistling Disney, let's do this, let's go back to the old times, and let's do this racial segregation thing. If this is something that they are sticking with and they standing by, y'all need to get them the fuck up out of office. You really do. Y'all need to take the time and research this shit and figure out who it is that's running your state and running your city. Because I know a lot of us as black people, we believe that voting don't work. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all. For a long time, I be believing the same thing. Like, this shit don't work. What we voting for these damn people for? They gonna pick who the hell they want to pick. Our opinions don't matter. But I'm starting not to believe that so much. And I have to have faith that our opinion and our votes do matter, and that we really need to be out there and oppose, not just voting for the president, because on some real shit, the president that shit don't affect you. Not how like your local and your state do. Fuck what the president is talking about and what he gonna do. Whatever he gonna do it's gonna be what it's gonna be. But what goes on where you live at and where you lay your head at, that directly impacts you. And we need to be on code, and we need to get together. I mean, black people, we should have been on code anyway. We need to find a way to get together. We need secret meetings and all kind of shit. Like I said, it's a food shortage. You should be saving any food and fruit, vegetable, whatever. If it has a seed, first of all, you should only be purchasing foods that have a seed. Anything that does not is genetically modified. That's not a food you should be ingesting anyway. But any foods that you have that has a seed, you need to save and preserve those seeds and then replant them so that you can grow them. your backyard. We need to have gardens in our backyard because there is a food shortage. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. And especially with us being in the middle of this recession, if you have, like where I live, it doesn't rain that often. If it's raining where you are, and I know they say collecting rainwater is illegal. We don't give a fuck. Do it anyway. Do it on the sly. There is no police officer that's coming and looking in your fucking backyard to see whether or not you're saving rainwater. Do it on the low. Save rainwater. Stock up on bottles of water. Just get your house in order. Get your house in order. Really, really get y'all shit together. I know y'all always be like, oh, y'all are conspiracy theorists and this, and the third. No. Don't be out here caught with your pants down. That's a phrase my grandma used to say, or she still say. Don't be out here caught with your pants down. You got to be ready. Get ready and stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. That's what we really need to do. And yeah. Yes. Oh, about the growing food. I don't want to hear no, oh, I don't have the space to do it. I don't have a yard. I live in an apartment. You can grow this shit in your house. As long as you got a window that got some sunlight that come into it, you can grow this shit in your house. Okay? Y'all motherfuckers found out how to grow weed. Y'all ass can find out how to grow some goddamn food. Okay? And I need us to do that. We need to wheel it in. And be on code for one another. Because if it comes to a point to where they're reversing this segregation laws, we gonna have to work together. We're gonna have to definitely work together. And right now, black folks, we don't know how to do that. We too much in competition with one another. And we gonna have to dead that shit. We really are. So that was all I wanted to talk about today. I know this shit was all over the place because my brain is all over the place. But I pray that you all get something from this pod, from this episode. Go and research. Do your research. Do your research. Do your research. I don't know how many times I have to say that. Go and read. You on social media all goddamn day anyway. Like I said, I'm going to link that website. Go to that site. Get you a book. Educate yourself. Listen to these YouTube videos and shit that's on her. TikTok shit will teach you anything you want to know. You get on TikTok and shit, you'll be a brain surgeon by the end of the night. Okay? Educate yourself and be prepared for a fight because that's what we got coming. I can promise you that. Okay? I love you, butterflies. You already know we caterpillars and we morphing into butterflies, my ones that have not gotten to that butterfly spirituality level yet. You will get there. So, be peace, be love, be light, mixed with a little bit of dark because, we got to have balance. And I'm out, baby. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. I love y'all.